a quick unexpected plug, but in maybe its inaugural year, 2019, I went through the mentorship program and was matched with a mentor, like as a mentee. And it was really cool. I had some really good lessons. And like Bo mentioned, you are matched with a mentor and they get to walk you through like maybe a new role that you've come into or new obstacles that you haven't faced before. So anyway, just an unexpected plug for that program. I'm a huge myself. So guys, thank y'all for being here today. I'm so excited with the turnout and I hope I have some good stuff to share with you. Looking at the calendar today and realizing that it is 2023 halfway through, I was like, you know what? I feel like these people today probably haven't been to a social media workshop or like they probably haven't listened to a podcast or a webinar on social media. It's probably the first time they're hearing about Instagram. And I'm like, that's actually not true. Has anybody like in the last 60 days listened to like a podcast on social media? Yeah. So it has been like a thorn in a business owner's side or anybody in marketing. It's been a thorn in our side for like the last, depending on how long I've been in the industry, 6 years, 10 years. Does anybody remember when the best strategy to have was like posting every single day? And people would be like, you post at 7 a.m. and then you post at 3:30 p.m. when your people are sitting in car pickup line and like there was these very like you had to do these things and Instagram was chronological. You could post a picture of your coffee at 7 a.m. and would get 53 likes. And that was like a big deal. Like, look at all these likes this latte got. And I am going to spoil this presentation a little bit and hit you at the end with what we're gonna land on. Please don't get up and leave. There is no one right way to do this. It requires really flexible thinking, and there are a lot of ideas I hope to give you today, but ultimately every single business is different. And if we've learned anything from social media, it is that every person needs to be authentic in the way they show up online, and that means that every person will be different. So don't get up and leave yet. Hopefully I've still got some good stuff to walk you through. But if you were wondering why I'm up here talking to you today, ask Pam. No, my name is Kelly Campbell and I am the Chief Happiness Geek and partner at Rock City Digital. So we are we are a digital marketing agency based here in Little Rock, and we've been around for about 7 years. And our mission always has been to help small to medium-sized businesses. And we really kind of got our gas when we got started with organic content online. We were you post every single day, 7 a.m. You had to have this crazy strategy. And obviously things have changed a lot since then, but our mission is really still the same. It's just to provide support for small to medium-sized businesses. And we want your marketing to be fun. And I can skip ahead to some agenda before we get into the rest of it. But I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. I don't know how to work the clicker. This is you from 2013, 2014, 2015 to present. This is also me. And this is also anybody else on my team or anybody who has ever had to log into any sort of business social media account. And I'm aware there's a way to do things, but this meme is always relevant and we will refer back to this often. So here's what we're going to talk about today in the next 30 minutes or so. We're going to be talking about building trust and how that can work into your social media strategy. A few questions that you can ask yourself and your team to get a game plan together before you even start posting. Defining your purpose in posting to make sure that you're not just hitting publish, just do it, and following the metrics. 7 a.m. latte picture. And then we're also, if we have time, a little bonus, a little advanced feature is going to talk about some AI prompts that you can use to help get those creative juices flowing. Did that like scare anybody, the AI prompt feature? Got some curious faces. So here's a little bit about us. Like I said, we are Rock City Digital. We do website design, Google Ads, search engine optimization. We do content creation and social media management. So Those are very different things, the management part, the strategy part, and then the content creation part. But those are all things that we do for our clients. So what my job role looks like today, I got started in social media 6 years ago. I still think it is like one of the funnest jobs that you can do. But now I really oversee all of the agency's clients. I oversee their big picture strategy and help to work with them across our team to implement that. So we're going to get started, and we're going to talk about building trust before you even start to consider a transaction. So this is something that the formatting is a little bit weird when I send it over, but this is something that, social media has changed a lot, as we discussed. But one thing about social media is that for the most part, it's pretty easy to create an account, right? So you want to set up a Facebook account, they just require a little bit of information. Meta has done a really good job at they've done a job at trying to create a little bit more transparency in who's behind the screen. But the reality is, like, anybody can get through and anybody can create an account. So even though I know that you guys in this room are real people and I can see you and I know who you are, other people don't. So there's always going to be a layer of anonymity behind this business social media profile or even a personal brand. People know who you are, but like, do they really, really know who you are? So if we're thinking about it in a general sense, social media has really changed the way that people have perceived like the truth, I guess, or like scams or what is out there. And people are a little bit more fearful, a lot more than they were 10 years ago. Even 5 years ago, it's changed a lot of things. So these next few things I want to talk about are not directly, yeah. It's a little bit disruptive. If you guys can all check your phones and make sure that they're on silent, that would be very appreciated. Thank you, Karen. It's okay, just making sure it wasn't mine. So there's a way that you need to build trust and have those layers of trust before people can even get ready to spend any money with you. And even though this seems maybe like a waste of time on your part because you know that you're a real person and you're an expert and you have this thing to offer, not everybody knows that. So we're going to talk about a few things to build trust as a foundation. These are suggestions. You do not have to do them all if you are on a budget or you are in your beginning phases. However, I would encourage you to pick 2 of these things and do them really, really well. So if we think about the way that people are finding you, finding your business online, they're probably coming from 2 ways, right? They are either coming in through your social media profiles, and then they're going to go and do additional research. So you see a picture of Rock City Digital online, and then you're like, who are these clowns posting on Facebook? Like, they look silly. Like, let me go check them out. And then you're going to go to our website, or you're going to go to our Google business listing, and you're going to be able to see them have real reviews. Or you were going to Google Rock City Digital and see that there was a news story or there was a speaking engagement at the Venture Center. And in your mind, that's going to check these things off. Okay, this is a real person. They're credible. We may have mutual connections. This is going to help to establish that little bit of trust. Custom domain email is in there too. This is something that I see all the time. And Kinsey, sitting on the front row, we talk about this often. This is such an easy thing to do because it is not very expensive. I mean, you're talking about like $1, $2, $3. But if you think about the level of trust that you have with somebody who is Kelly at rockcitydigital.com versus Kelly RCD at hotmail.com or marketing geek at Gmail, you're like, is this person going to email me back? Like, what are they doing? So you're going to look at a few of these things, and I want you to take these into consideration of how that establishes that trust that people are building with you. So the first one, obviously, is website design. This does not have to be custom. This does not have to be expensive. There are tons of companies out there that do like just template sites that you can customize to your brand colors and your logos. But having something that when somebody lands on your website and it looks somewhat professional and polished is going to have a huge impact on how they perceive your brand. Again, the custom domain emails is going to have a big impact. Like I said, I think GoDaddy has these as like an add-on to your website for like $1.99 a month for the emails. It's very expensive. Google business profiles. This is your Google business listing. These are free to get. You do have to provide quite a bit of information because Google's going to need to know that, but these are completely free. Again, if somebody is going to Google your business name and this pops up and there are reviews or a phone number or an email address, people are like, okay, this is a real company. And then the last one is online write-ups and features. This can be free, this can be paid, kind of depends on your budget and your connections here. But again, think about how you want people to, how you want to show up when somebody Googles your business name to make sure that you are a legitimate business. So if you are, it could be something as simple as, you know, maybe you won an award in a local like community thing. Maybe you joined the North Little Rock Regional Chamber and they've added you to their website. That's going to add a little layer of credibility too. Maybe you've done an article or you posted something on your website and then send it to somebody else for them to feature you on their website. You've had a blog post feature on somebody else's website too. So there are a lot of ways to get that press. If you're unsure, I would absolutely try to find somebody who is well-versed in PR and get with them on some ways that you can get your name out there online. If you could not necessarily afford a custom website design or something, something really expensive. The custom domain and the Google business profiles are very inexpensive, if not free. Website design, online write-ups may cost you depending on what you're doing with that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about a game plan. So you've done this audit, you've established this level of trust so that when people find you online, they understand that you're a real person and a real business. And the next thing I want you to do is to get yourself and get your team members together. Other perspectives are always welcome. If you are a solopreneur, you are doing this on your own, I would highly encourage you to get your friends and family or some of your, like, that you really trust, not just like your sister that you're like, she's the only person I have. No friends, sorry. But this is somebody that you want to get, instead of just being in this vacuum of these same things and these same perspectives all the time, get other people's perspective too. And I want you to sit down and ask a few of these questions to get your game plan together before you even start to post. So our team sends over, we call it a kickoff onboarding document, basically, is what it is. And this document is what we send to new social media clients that is going to make them like dig into and really think about what they want to post, how they want to show up online. So I think in total, it was like 26 questions. And these are pretty open-ended and really allow people to like talk with their team and come up with some similar responses. And it's also really important to know if you get different responses, like those are things that you need to address in your business. But I wanted to share 5 of those with you today. And like I said, I really encourage you to take these back to your company, your team. And I want you to think about this before you even start to post. So I know that you can read the prompts, but a few of these I'll just read through. Your company's mission and what drives your team to be best. And don't just say like, we're the #1 web designers. Like, no, what is it really? Like, is it your team that makes you so good? Is it your product that makes you so good? Is it your customer service? Like, what is it that's going to absolutely drive people to your door, to your locations, or to book your services? And if somebody were to stumble upon your digital presence, what's one message you would want them to convey? Like, what do you want people to know? Do you want people to know that you are incredibly talented, that you put customers first? If they get nothing else from landing on your Facebook page, what do you want them to know? And how do you want them to feel about your brand too? We were just having this conversation this morning with one of our new clients. Like, do you want people to feel empowered? Do you want people to feel like at ease, convenience? Do you want them to feel, some people land on their Facebook page, I feel confused. I'm like, why do you have this picture of this birthday party and then a customer testimonial that have nothing to do with each other? Are you using this for personal use or business use? So figure out exactly how you want people to feel and like write that word down. 3 brand accounts that inspire you. This is not to copy. This is just so that you have a clear vision of how other people execute it so that you know that it's possible too. Or maybe you see something that they post and you're like, man, I really like that. That really hit home. Try to recreate that within your own social media strategy. Figure out your primary goals for social media. Again, this is probably not your first time that you've heard this. But what are you aiming for? Because you need to be consistent. Are you just looking for brand awareness? Do you just want people to know, like, hey, I am the best at what I do, and I just need everybody to know about it? Are you looking for people to call you? Need book consultations? Do you want to send people to your website? Make sure that the call to action on your social media is really consistent every single time. And then lastly, the secret sauce that sets you apart. Does anybody like have a really, like, like when I said that, you're like, ooh, like I got it. Something that would be really difficult for other people to recreate in their business, even if they knew what your secret was. Like ours is our team. Like we could, like nobody can recreate that. And I'm not just saying that because y'all are here. Like nobody can recreate that, right? We also have we have some guarantees too. So we have a 24-hour business communication. If you email us, we will get back to you within 24 business hours. If you send us an update to your website, we will get that done same day. There are, like, we guarantee that. So like there is no other companies, very few that can recreate that the way that we've done that too. But that's just how we operate. And we want to make sure that people know that as well. Backwards. And if you need to take notes, it's going to stay up here a little bit longer. Okay. All right. We got it. So another questions that we need to ask. Next, we're going to talk about posting with a purpose. So finding your purpose in posting. This is where we're really going to get into the strategy part. So you've audited to make sure that you are very trustworthy. You're really reliable. The next thing that you've done is you figured out exactly what you're going to post about, what you're going to talk about. This is going to talk a little bit more about the general guidelines that you are going to use when you're looking at your goals. I think a lot of times when people talk about social media goals, your brain is like, okay, like book 6 calls this week. And I think that's a great goal to have, but I want you to think about social media as a long-term game, and those require a long-term bigger vision. So if your bigger vision for social media is brand awareness, but you're focused on booking 6 calls this week, those things don't match and your strategy will be so full of friction. Like you're not going to understand what you need to be posting about. So before you hit post, I want you to think about a few things, and you're going to grab that form that you filled out with your team and you're going to really look at it. And then here's where you're going to go. I'm going to give you some examples. If you guys have specific industries, I would love to try to give you some examples up here too. But if your goal is brand awareness, so if your team is sitting down and they're like, I mean, we just really need people to know we're here. Like we really need people to know we're here. We're really unique. I think if people knew about us, like they would call us. They just don't know that we're here. You're going to have to poke into some other avenues beyond just social media too. But things that you would want to do, and there may be some things that you wouldn't necessarily have to waste your time doing. But what you're going to want to do is you may have to hop on some trendy stuff, right? Like that's going to have a little bit more of a further reach. I'm not telling you to dance or anything like that unless you want to. But you're going to have to get a little bit more into some engaging video content, maybe add some humor to it as well, create some memes for yourself too. But you're going to have to get into some video content if you're going to want that reach to really explode. Success stories and case studies. So again, if people are just coming to your website, to your social media to check some credibility, they're going to want to see like, what are some things that other people have done too? Do you have any before and afters? What does this do for other people? I didn't even know that you existed 5 minutes ago. I stumbled upon you, but now you want me to buy something? Like, no, let me see like exactly what you're doing. Collaborate with other people in your space for a Q&A. So if you have a hair care line and you know that there are other people who would be interested in purchasing those products, you share a similar audience with someone else, collaborate. I don't know if that's that could be a Facebook Live, that could be an Instagram Live. There are so many ways that you can collaborate online now that I would make a plan and do that, especially if you're going to share a similar audience. And then hop on the trends. If you see something that is really trendy and you think to yourself, that is cute, I like the way they use that, you're going to have to do it too. Like you're going to have to use some flexible thinking, think outside the box and figure out how it applies to your business too, if you're looking for brand awareness. If your goal is hiring and recruiting, is anybody having like staff issues right now, or you like cannot keep people, cannot find people? So we work primarily in the home service and professional service industries. So we're looking for people who do residential commercial work. And then we also work with people like law firms, dentists that have like professional services too. Pretty much across the board, we are seeing the same thing. It is an issue with recruiting. And I will give you a quick plug for a platform that I think you could use really well. If you are sleeping on LinkedIn, please do not. That is the best place to hire or recruit, and not from your business page, from your personal page. If you are the CEO, if you are the owner operator, you absolutely have to be on LinkedIn. You have to share your thoughts. You can share quotes. You can share pictures of your team. You absolutely have to be on LinkedIn. Other things that you can post across like Facebook or Instagram would be things like customer reviews that feature compliments about your team. So when you think about the way that maybe a job seeker, they stumble across your business, here's Home Service LLC, and they're like, I don't know what this is about. How do they treat their team? Is their stuff up to date? And then they're going to go on their search, and then they're going to land on their Facebook page, and they're going to see that a customer said, I had the best experience with Home Service LLC. Krista took the best care of me. She has the best customer service. My project went XYZ, and I absolutely love everything about it. Immediately, whoever that employee or that job seeker is going to be like, I want to be a part of that. Like, I want people to feel that way about me. I want to be on a team that does really good work. You can also include some employee spotlights and work anniversaries. I know that this is not rocket science, and this is not the first time you're hearing this. I know. But I want you, again, to think about what this does for a potential job seeker. I promise you, if you are trying to hire, someone is going to check out the experiences across the World Wide Web. They're trying to look for reviews. They want to look at the legitimacy. They want to look for where they're about to commit 40 hours a week to working at. And if they can see that you celebrated, that somebody just, like you posted that somebody just celebrated 3 years, I don't care if you celebrated, they posted 1 month. Like that to them is like, wow, they really value their employees. They really value what they're doing there. You could post a spotlight. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to do the trendy videos. But again, you're going to use this as some legitimacy, and you want people to see when they're on their search that whatever you're posting on your social media actually has direct relevance to them in their life and how they can see themselves operating in your business as an employee and as a team member. So again, some examples of like how you may see that post, see that picture on the right. You're like, who are these goobers at Camp Taco with stashes on? This is like an iPhone picture. This is nothing crazy. But let's just say that you're looking for a new job. I wanted to use our own examples, of course. But let's just say that you're looking for a job and you're like, man, I'm tired of this XYZ. Like, let me just see what's out there. And then you stumble upon this and you're like, man, they look like they're having a lot of fun. Now we do have a lot of fun. You don't have to manufacture it. But the thing is, like, if you see that, you're like, I want to work there. I promise you what happens probably 10 times a week is like a resume will get into our inbox and we're not hiring. But it's like you have to make sure that people know like you value your team and you're putting what you do out there in a good, positive way. If people do not see that, and if you don't post online because maybe you're like, well, this looks like I'm bragging, or, you know, I don't want somebody to feel uncomfortable. Everybody wants to be praised. And if you can do that on a public setting, like Facebook, like Instagram, that employee is going to feel valued. It's going to help with retention. And potential job seekers are going to see it. They're going to know that that feels like a value. And then somebody's great aunt is going to see it too. And they're going to be like, that's my baby. And then they share it. And then all your great aunt's family and friends see it too. So your reach is going to go further. You want to post about your people. If you're looking for bookings and new business, so you're like, I have got to increase my bookings at my salon. I own the salon and, you know, I have a new stylist that started. I've got to fill their books up. I want you to think about a few things. Work anniversaries are great too. It's fantastic. You can do that. Customer testimonials, amazing. But this is where you're going to want to showcase the experience. So remember that secret sauce that you leaned into earlier? You're going to bring it back. If you're looking for ways to drive new business in the door and you're like, we're pretty established, like we just need to grow. Lean into the things that people don't know about you. You can talk about the experiences that nobody else offers. So again, let's say that you're a salon. I promise you, I'm going to want to see a video of somebody getting their hair shampooed. And I don't mean like you just had somebody like hold the phone up there and you're like rushing through it. No, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you've ever had your hair washed in the salon and then you see a video about that, guess who I'm calling? My hairdresser. I want somebody to wash my hair like that. You've got to lean into the things that you do really, really well and then put that online too. A tour of your location, if people don't have to have that barrier of like, I don't know what to expect when I get in there, it's going to make them walking through your door a lot easier. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to hire a photographer or videographer for this, but just make sure that people know what to expect when they're going to walk through your building. And then a visual of the services being performed. So I know this goes into a little bit more of the content creation than it does the strategy, but there are ways that you can do this that are easy and that you can reuse over and over again. One thing that I see people like, they're not sure how to do a lot or how to capture the content is like, maybe they work in an industry that's like not very glamorous, right? Like they are in HVAC and they're like, yeah, I can't really make this luxury. Nothing really sexy about this, although it is in July. There's a lot of things sexy about an HVAC company. But what I want you to do is like, think back to that, like how you're going to go back to that thing. How do you want people to feel? How do you want people to feel when they look at your profile? If you're an HVAC company and you're trying to lean into a visual of your services, and I want people to feel energized, I want people to feel excited to work with me or like they're getting a great deal, figure out a way to make that be visual, like lean back into that feeling instead of like, well, I guess I'm gonna take a picture of somebody working on my unit. No, lean back into how you want people to feel when they scroll and they look. I feel like I see this technician is out after dark taking care of this person. Their customer service must be stellar. It must be great. Let's just say that your goal is thought leadership. I have so much information I want to share. Maybe you're a personal brand and you just think like, I want to be the person when it comes to blank, when it comes to finances, when it comes to insurance, when it comes to real estate. I want to be the person that people come to for this. Think of yourself as the expert. You can't shy away from it. You've got to lean into it. And I want you to think about posting articles that you've been featured in to your social media. Copy paste. Again, we're not necessarily thinking about what is something that's going to make me go viral in this moment. This is for research, right? This is for people who are coming back to look at your page. Maybe you got them in through another post and they're checking out your page and then they see like, oh, this kind of is what he's talking about. He's been featured in this article. He's been featured here. He was interviewed here. It offers that level of legitimacy. Any speaking engagements that you've been at, I would refrain from snapping a selfie, but you could if you really needed to. It was cool. But you should take a picture of yourself, put it up there, make sure that people know like other people want to hear what you have to say. Community organizations and events. Brittany is sitting out here. I think she does a fantastic job of doing this. They are at every community event, they're at every networking thing, and they take a picture and they post it. And I know, like, I was not surprised to see Brittany here today because she's at everything. And if that's how you want people to feel about you too, you've got to make sure that they know that. Even if you show up, that's fine. You got to take a picture of it. You got to post it. You have to network a little bit. Any industry news and updates, again, this is not going to make you go viral. I'm sorry to tell you, people are probably not going to share the heck out of your blog post about the top 5 things to do after a hailstorm. If you're an insurance adjuster, they're probably not going to need to know that. But they do need to know that you know what you're talking about all the time. Like, I didn't even have a question. I knew I would need to come to this person because he's who knows all the things about insurance. I did want to add too that if you're going back to the feeling about that we talked about in those questions that you've asked, and you're thinking about the content that's been created and how you want people to feel, and you are in a line of luxury, if you want to be or you think of yourself or your industry as anything in a line of luxury, slow down your content. Slow it down, add some nice music. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you're thinking about a $3 million home and you've watched a home tour of that, They do not have fast-paced music. It does not make you feel energized. It wants you to be very chill, very serene. Look at the time that you could be spending in this home. If you have a luxury hair care product, if you have a luxury health and wellness product, if you have a luxury detailing, you detail luxurious cars, don't rush through it. Don't make people feel excited. You want people to be like, dang. You want them to have that feeling and like lean into that. On the flip side, if you're in an industry that needs to be fast and you have to work fast, like speed it up a little bit, change the tempo. There are, and we can probably get into those questions at the end about what apps to use or how to create content like that. But lean back into, when you're get ready to create the content after the strategy, lean back into the feeling that you want people to feel. We have a little bit of time. We have a little bit of time for a Q&A. We're going to talk about using AI to jumpstart. Has anybody, I know I'm about to get a lot of hands. Chat GPT? Okay, yes, if you've consumed any sort of news in the last 2 years, you're very well aware of AI and how people are using AI. I did have a friend call me last week though, and she was like, you are never gonna believe what I found. Like this website I just went to, like she was like letting me know, and I'm like, girl, I didn't know that you didn't know. I would have told you. But if you do not know, there is a generative AI tool called Chat GPT. There are others too. Bard, I guess, just rolled out. There are a lot of other ones. There's lots of different types of AI. I will say that Chat GPT is very user-friendly. It's really easy to just like hit a button, log in, and type some things. But if you're like, I don't even know how to use this, it's kind of scary. My husband used it to create a 18-week Ironman training schedule. Like it spit out a training schedule for him to use to train for an Ironman. It's not how I use it. To each their own. But I want to show you how you could use this, and I want you to use it to get the juices flowing. This is not to do your job or to replace your social strategy. This is a good place to start. You've got to fact check everything. This is just a good way to get the juices rolling. I know that it can be intimidating, but I want to show you how maybe you could use this to work into your strategy, right? So like, let's just say that you're like, I don't even know what to ask it. Like, I don't know, what should I post on Instagram? No, I want you to go to your website. You have a website, copy any sections that you see. Maybe it's an about section. Maybe it's your own personal bio. And you can literally type in like, take this bio of myself, take this paragraph and turn it into an Instagram caption. And it'll spit something out for you. And then you'll be like, make it a little bit more casual. And then it'll spit it out for you again. And then you can say, make it a little bit funny. And then it'll spit you out something different. It'll give you a lot of ideas and prompts of how you can reword things and reword content that you've already gotten. So maybe you don't have a website. Maybe you don't have any copy on your website. Everybody should, in a professional setting, I believe, have some sort of bio. You should have something about yourself, something about your company. You should have some mission statements. And if you're looking for ways to figure out, like, how do I say this a different way? I wouldn't copy paste this, but this is going to help to get your brain working in a better direction too. Has anybody used AI, not just Chat GPT, but has anybody used AI for something that you're like, this worked like really, really well for me? Yeah. Give me an example of like what you've been able to use it for.
Honestly, I've never really posted anything with it, but my friends like to goof around with this one AI to create stories, and sometimes it helps us make like stop motions with them, and really funny AI creates funny stories. Yeah, that's really about it.
Yeah. No, that is
it's called a tool dance. It's free.
Yes. So a lot of the AI tools out there are free. This is like the interface kind of like what it looks like. It'll keep like chats or things that you've asked it. It'll keep those too. You can keep generating responses until you kind of get what you want. But I want you to think of these prompts as less about like, what should I post on Instagram? And like, hey, reword this for me. Or what are the most common questions that people have about blank? What are the reasons that people wouldn't book me for blank? You can ask it to analyze things for you. You can submit like A/B tests and be like, why did this work better than this? And it can tell you like, well, this had a better click-through rate because you did XYZ. You had a better call to action. It's scary, cool, a little scary. But I want you to look at this and think about this as ways to get your creative juices flowing. It's chat.openai.com. You just sign in, type your little questions away. It'll help you with that. You can give it like a tone of voice that you want to use. You can help give it some brand guidelines. They know like you want to say things in a casual way. You don't want to use that information. You need to do this. I wrote this whole presentation with ChatGPT. I'm kidding. I did not do that. Yes. You have a question? Let me bring the microphone. Oh, that was a timer. That was a time hand. Okay, perfect. Great. We're on the right track. Well, guys, we're about to open it up for a Q&A, I believe. Any like questions, anything like that we can talk about. Just a quick little virtual business card. This is how to reach us. I'm Kelly at rockcitydigital.com. You can call or text that number too if you have any questions or just want to talk marketing. And we're also located on the 3rd floor. So like in this building. So you just take a quick elevator ride down. And sometimes people are here and sometimes talk to you too. So I would love to hear from you guys. And now if y'all have any questions, maybe we can talk about it. Oh.
Hello.
Hey, yeah.
I am Monica McGee. I own the Picasso Experience, professional artist. I'm asking about specifically shadow banning and how to avoid that. I actually have someone I consult with and they saw my content and like, wow, your stuff's amazing. What I've been doing, creating my content on TikTok. And then of course it generates a video, and it's there, and Facebook, and sometimes it blocks it, or I'm noticing that I'm kind of hanging out in the same amount of real plays. And it's stuff that I've seen someone else do that's similar. And theirs is not. So what are some suggestions you have to avoid that? Are there any editing softwares you suggest that can overcome that?
Yeah, that is super frustrating. And I feel like shadow banning is like a big question mark. And by shadow banning, she means that like the algorithm of like Facebook or Instagram will just like decide that you have offended it in some way, and it will not be showing anybody the content that you spent time to create. And it is super frustrating. So when you create something in TikTok, just so you guys know, when you export it, the TikTok logo was on there. And then when you upload it to Instagram, it's still on there. Well, Instagram doesn't like that because it wants you to use their platform. So it can hinder your views. If you use a software or an app like CapCut, CapCut, it is a video editing app, and it is, I think it's more user-friendly than TikTok or Instagram, honestly. Like it's pretty user-friendly. It's CapCut. So if you'll use an app like that and actually like add your videos in there, it even has like trending audio, just like Instagram or TikTok would. But you can export it, and that should help with the watermark issue too. Other than that, just gotta pray to the Google gods. I don't know.
So then I would just load my content up on the different platforms.
Yes. Yes. I don't know that you can do it. I think for TikTok, you like have to do it in app, but I would focus on, especially if you're going to export and try to get it on Instagram Reels, I would try to export it with that. Now, what I'll tell you about CapCut is I think there's like a paid version and it won't put the CapCut logo at the end. Do not pay for that. As soon as your video is exported, go into the crop and just cut off the tail end of that. I'll be paying for that out. It's free. Even the what? Yeah, so it'll like, it adds it as like a screen at the end, and I would just go in and edit the video. Like after it's in your camera roll, edit it and just shave that part off. You know, that's what I would do. Yes. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Do you find that, so like for content creation, for small startups or small businesses, do you think paying for someone to nab your content is valuable? Or do you think it's like tread the water, just do it yourself? What do you see value in paid content creation?
That's a really good question. Also because I have some skin in the game on the agency side. I'm like, no, I think the reality is you should start paying for content if under a few circumstances. Number one, you have found somebody who understands your business to a T and they have a completely different perspective and you love their work. Like pay that person just to do it. Otherwise, there are so many platforms out there. Like you had to pay a graphic designer to make a graphic, right? Like, no, we got Canva. You used to have to really like shell money out. And there are a lot of ways that you can do it initially. I don't necessarily recommend, especially if you're a startup, I do not recommend that you pay anybody to do it unless you just find somebody who is like an incredible value add and they're like, you know, that the ROI is there, like whatever they're posting, you're getting a direct return on. I hope that answered your question.
So, there's been a lot of talk about grades.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of wanted to hear your thoughts around maybe that, how you think that.
Yes. Okay. So she mentioned Threads. Has anybody not heard of Threads yet? Don't have it yet? Okay. So we've seen a lot of things come and go over the years, right? Like I remember when TikTok first launched, I was like, I'm not getting on that platform. Like that is so like, yeah, right. Now we are all sucked in. Like now we all have to have TikTok, right? But there have been so many like Be Real, Lemonade, like these things come and go, right? And so with Thread, it is a Twitter-like platform, but it is directly linked to Instagram. So it is Instagram's version of Twitter, essentially dumbed down. I will tell you this, if Instagram wants you to like something or they want you to be a part of something, they will shove it down your throat until you do it. When Instagram stories came out, it was like a ripoff of Snapchat. And I'm like, who's going to use this? Everybody, because Instagram made sure that you did. My advice on Threads is to get on it and just go ahead and like adapt. I don't think you have to check it every day and it needs to be your thing, but because it's directly related to Instagram, you can like kind of transfer like your following and followers list. So it's easier to build like an audience on there, which was so smart on Instagram's part. That's why people don't form platforms, because they have to build a new audience. I would absolutely recommend go ahead and secure your username. Make sure that you have it on there. The worst part is going to be figuring out what your first thread is, and also how to use thread as like a verb, because that sounds weird. But I want you to think about Threads as like, it's probably not going anywhere, if I'm being honest with you. You're probably just gonna have to get on there and adapt. I haven't threaded yet though. I didn't know what to say. I got my username, but I don't know what to say yet. It's only like less than a week old, so you guys still have a lot of time, okay?
I think we have one question over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask this question for general purposes, specific. But a lot of us are business owners and we are sensitive about our image.
Mm-hmm.
So how in a social media strategy do you handle your keyboard warriors and your negative people out there in the social universe who do hide behind a cat picture or some, random picture, but, they may be spreading some negativity or just being haters or whatever, that may feed to the people that see your actual audience.
Mm-hmm.
So what recommendations would you give for those?
Maybe an unpopular opinion, but all engagement is engagement nonetheless. So I'm nosy. If I see a thread that has a lot of comments, good or bad, I'm probably going to read them all, which gives you a good opportunity to be the one that comes back as the bigger person. And I think you can just ignore it. If you have a team or you yourself are doing it, I would actually work on like some canned responses. So if somebody is like, I can't believe you like chose that wallpaper. Like that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. No problem. Thank you so much for your comment. This was hand selected by XYZ and we think it looks great in this bathroom. Like you can just let people be. Because we're all, or I'm going to assume all users of social media are consuming at some point. y'all can spot the crazy people, right? Like y'all can spot the people that you're like, that person has a problem with everybody. So don't let those people get under your skin. I think it speaks so much more to the professionalism of the business owner who's running the account if you let them be and you let them be wild in the comments, because you already know they're having a bad day for no reason. People will see through it. I have a question back there.
I don't run a business in a traditional sense. I'm a YouTuber. I make Lego related content. I do sell instructions on the side. I'm moderately sized, but I noticed that a lot of people don't ever come back to my videos, but I only ever receive positive comments, but 97% of my viewers never return, and I'm looking to amp up my viewership numbers. How can I do that? And also, I have another question, sorry. You said hop on trends. How do you hop on trends without blatantly hop on someone?
That's a great question. And when you say people don't come back to your videos, you mean like they don't come back to your channel to like watch other things? Or like you want people to rewatch videos again and again?
I want them to watch other things on my channel, but it says they typically don't return, but they do subscribe, but they don't return.
Interesting. I have some thoughts, but I would want to like look at the way that your channel is laid out. Because there are things that I'm like, I'm not sure if you're doing those things or not. I would absolutely like go back and link to other videos. So let's just say that you are doing, you said Legos, right? So like, let's just say that you are building, you know, the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. I'm sorry if that's a bad example. If you're building the Eiffel Tower and then you're going back on those videos, I mean, like if you're interested in this, check out when I build the Great Wall of China, check out where I build, like you can use those things to like funnel people. If they were interested in this, they're probably going to be interested in something else, especially like related to whatever you're doing. So you could kind of like get people back in and like get them further down the rabbit hole of your channel. I would think that I would need to look at your channel, make sure it's laid out. And then what was the last question you asked? I'm sorry.
It was, you said hop on trend.
Yeah.
Hop on trend without blatantly copying someone. And if you do accidentally copy someone, how do you deal with that?
So a lot of things that people do now will be like, oh, inspired by, and then like you can tag them, just like give them credit. But one thing I would do is think about it again. Like it's going to require a lot of flexible thinking. So don't just think like they did this in a video, like I'm going to do that same thing. Go back to that list, like, okay, how did people feel? Did they think that was fun? Did they use a trendy audio? Did they have certain angles? Like you can replicate elements without like copying the entire video, if that makes sense at all. If you are going to copy the entire video, I would give credit somewhere. I think we have one more question. Yeah.
Hello, it's not more so a question, but I just want to elaborate. You know, that you said, asking about how to handle negativity comments.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is block. You know, that's the way.
Great.
There and send in anything, and have a good day.
If you got nothing else from today, like that might have been the nugget, just block people, honestly. There's a lot of people out there. The last thing that I want to leave you with, I know that you guys are getting ready to leave. But one thing that I want to leave you with is something that I heard in the last like few weeks. And I don't know why I've never thought of it like this before, but I hope that makes you guys feel a little bit more ease going into your social media strategy. Social media content is disposable content. It can live on your page, but you are not like creating this set in stone thing. Like if you post something and you decide you don't like it, like you can archive it or delete it altogether, or maybe you just post something else instead. Like, do not think of the stuff that you post as like, this has to be perfect. This has to align with every single thing that I believe. This has to hit all these things. It's going to be flexible. You're going to post things that you're going to look back in 3 years and be like, that was kind of cringe. I wish I wouldn't have done that. But it's disposable content. Don't stress too much about it. You just want to serve as a place that people can find you and then confirm your legitimacy and then decide to do business with you. Or opposite, you want people to be able to go to your Facebook or go to your Instagram or your Threads account. Take a while to get that up. Or your LinkedIn account and confirm that you are like a real human being. So use this as more as like an online portfolio that has a little bit of flexibility. It doesn't have to be super polished. It can just be real authentic content. So hopefully that takes a little bit of pressure off today. I'm going to stick around for a little bit and answer some questions too. If you guys want to talk, chat, or just meet and brainstorm, I would love to do that, but I'm going to hand it back over to Pamela. Thank y'all so much for coming today.